Hello, welcome. Hey, Porcelli, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great, and I'm glad I'm back. Has been a while that we don't have this session together.
Indeed, I was missing you. And by the way, I think you're going to enjoy the topic today because we are going to talk about decisions, managed services, and that means that you're not going to have to install anything on your machine in order to try out the examples that are going to be shown here today.
That's awesome. Yeah. So we'll combine all the goods that we have there: OpenShift, Kubernetes, the DMN decisions, and Kafka and managed Kafka. That's
Yes,
awesome.
event-driven decisions. If you look from the technical perspective, that is totally right. And if you look from a more use case or business perspective, you see that you can actually deliver your business automation, your decision automation, without having to worry about the upside of things. It's going to be way easier to do it and to achieve your goals. And the person that we have today to talk about this is Guilherme Caponetto. And Guilherme has been in the software development career for more than 10 years already. And he's part of the development team of the tooling, right, Porcelli? Of
Yeah.
JVM, Cogito, Druze.
Yes, all the stack. We have the tools team that works across the all the projects that we have, and he is working on some goods that will come later, and he will give us today a glimpse of what we can do with DMN, Managed Kafka, and OpenShift Sandbox.
Awesome. As usual, feel free to drop any comments on the chat, any questions. Feel free to interact with others. This is an open space, and your thoughts are really welcome. Okay, so let's bring Guilherme to the stage. Hey, Guilherme, thanks for being here today.
Hi guys, how are you doing?
We are doing great. Thanks for asking.
Yeah, glad, and thank you for presenting today. We are I'm personally very excited because we've been displaying DMN more on the perspective how you build it, what the value of that, and sometimes to demo we use a curl or some UI. But now we'll be getting to the real use case, like people put these in production, looking to event streaming. That's a very popular topic today, and we are connecting these both important worlds today in this session.
Yeah,
Indeed.
it's gonna be a cool demo, and hopefully you guys will enjoy it as much as I did while
Yes.
making it.
Okay.
Yoo-hoo! So, Gui, look, I will now share your screen so that you can start your presentations. Your presentation, and everyone that's here today with us will be on the backstage talking with you via chat. Okay, Gui, good presentation. Okay.
Okay, thank you. Okay, I guess you can see my screen.
Yes, we can see it.
Okay, thank you. So today we are going to talk about streaming decisions with DMN and Kafka. Okay, so what is this presentation about? As Alex has already introduced, we are going to be talking about the Developer Sandbox for Red Hat OpenShift, then the Red Hat OpenShift streams for Apache Kafka, and finally, I'm going to show you how to connect them both with DMN. And the first two will be a brief introduction, I promise. And the last one will be hopefully a cool demo. So let's get started. Let's talk about the Developer Sandbox for Red Hat OpenShift. And for this presentation, I'm going to refer to it as just Sandbox to make my life easier, okay? So whenever I say Developer Sandbox or just Sandbox, I'm talking about this. So what is this sandbox? I took this quote from the official website, but it pretty much says everything that you need to know. And basically, this sandbox is a private OpenShift environment with a pre-configured set of developer tools for you to easily get started with containers. You can create containers from source code or Docker file, or many other ways that the service provides, and also build new applications using samples and things like that, add services, connect with databases. So it looks to me a pretty an entire solution for you to get started with your POCs and things like that. Because, of course, there are some limitations because it's free. So you just need a Red Hat developer account for get started. No credit card. It's totally free. You get one instance. But I see that this is a good opportunity to put all the ideas that you have stored in the back of your drawer into practice with this. Okay. And in this image, we can see it sums up everything that OpenShift provides. You can, of course, connect and use the sandbox using the web UI or the CLI if you prefer, or REST API. You can, as I said, connect databases to it. You can deploy various languages like Python, Node.js, and Java on top of Quarkus, which is my favorite. And also, there is this web-based web browser web-based IDE for you to edit your code. So this is a full solution for you to deploy your code, edit your code, and manage your deployments. And as I said, there are some limitations because it's free, but I don't think this prevents you for doing awesome things. So for example, you will have 7 gigabytes of RAM, 15 gigabytes of storage, and this instance will last for 30 days, okay? So after 30 days, this instance will be kind of deleted, but you can go ahead and create another one, okay? And that's it for the sandbox. Let's talk about the Red Hat OpenShift streams for Apache Kafka. And similarly, I'm going to refer to it as just Kafka or managed Kafka, okay? So what is it? So if you are familiar with Kafka, this is basically Red Hat will manage a Kafka instance for you, and this is free, just like the Developer Sandbox. But keep in mind, this is development preview, so please do not put production code and production stuff on it. Okay. So talking more about this solution, it basically makes you focus on the development of your solution, connecting with Kafka, and you can think of it kind of putting into practice more, how can I say, more close to the real life applications, because your Kafka would be deployed somewhere else, right? Not on your local machine. And with this service, you don't have to worry about the underlying requirements of data collection and processing. You can just create your Kafka instance, you can create your topics, and start using it in your applications. Okay. So that's it for my brief introduction. Let's talk about the demonstration that I want to show you today. So before, let's review the goals of my demonstration. First, I would like to show you around the sandbox and Kafka, just for you to feel what is it to use them. And second, I want to show you a really cool application integrating them both with DMN. And the third is, this is my personal goal. I do not want to require anything installed. Okay, so this is a very good reason for you to try it out today. You just have to do some clicks because the code is prepared. You just have to have your Red Hat developer's account ready, and then you can get started with everything. Okay. So here is a little summary of our demo of our components. So here, don't worry about the links. There are all in the presentation, but this is the repository where the code lives. Here is the sandbox. Here is the managed Kafka. So first, in this repository, I created 2 Quarkus applications, one for a producer and one for the consumer. We will see more details about them in a bit. So we will basically deploy them on OpenShift Sandbox. And OpenShift Sandbox, we will deploy through the GitHub repository, and then OpenShift Sandbox will automatically and magically create our loosely coupled services, okay? One for the producer and one for the consumer. And we will see in the demonstration that I put a basic index HTML page for both, so we can check what's going on, okay? And the producer will obviously produce events. It will send events with decision inputs to a topic that we will create in our managed Kafka. And our consumer will subscribe to this topic and receive this event, this stream of events. And then all the DMN, the Kogito DMN will automatically and magically evaluate the decisions for us, okay? This will make more sense when we see the demo. So let's take a closer look of our demo. First, let's inspect our DMN. Let me change to the repository here. So this is the repository. You can access, this is open source, public, available. And this is our DMN. This DMN lives in the consumer because the consumer will do the decision evaluation, okay? And I believe many people already know this traffic violation model, but let's do a quick look here so everyone is in the same page, okay? Let me go here in the documentation. So here is our model. We have 2 inputs here, the driver and the violation information. We want to know to calculate the fine for this violation. And lastly, we want to know if the driver should be suspended or not. And we have this function here, this helper function here to help us calculate the total points. So here is the, by the way, I'm using our awesome Chrome extension to visualize these diagram, okay? I said that I didn't want to install anything, but this Chrome extension, I strongly recommend you to install. So here is the driver information, the violation information, and the fine information, okay? And here is our decision table for the fine. We have some rows here. The first one is speed violation. And if we calculate the actual speed minus the speed limit, and this number is between 10 and 30, 30 not included, then the fine will be 500 and the points will be 3. Likewise, we have this speed violation here, but if this difference here is more than 30, then the amount will be 1,000 and the points will be 7. And we have other violation types here that, but we won't be seeing this demo, okay? And lastly, let's check our calculate total points function here. It basically sums the fine points that we calculated previously, plus the driver points. But if the driver is younger than 22, this fine points will have a factor of 2, otherwise 1. And finally, the decision that we want, should the driver be suspended, we will calculate the total points. And if the total points is more than 20, then this driver should be suspended, otherwise no, okay? And that's it for our model. Let's go back to the presentation. Okay. Okay, talking about the producer code, I promise I'm almost done with that. Talking about the producer code, this will basically send cloud events every 5 seconds. I put 5 seconds to a particular topic that we will be creating. Okay, and the payload contains decision inputs, as we will see, and some of the inputs are randomly generated just to simulate real events. Okay. And this is a payload example. The important thing to notice here is that we have our model name here. This should correspond to the model that we have in our consumer. And the data information the data object contains the decision inputs, which are the driver and the violation information. Okay. Talking about the consumer will be subscribed to our topic and will receive cloud events. As I've shown you, it includes the traffic violation decision model. And using Kogito, we will evaluate the decision. The Kogito will evaluate for us. Okay. So this code is already prepared to you. I strongly encourage you to take a look after this live. Okay. And this is an example of the payload after the decision evaluation. We can see here that the fine is calculated for that particular driver and violation input, and the decision whether or not the driver should be suspended is here. And lastly, just to connect our sandbox with our managed Kafka, we will need some environment variables. If you want to run the producer and the consumer locally and connect to your managed Kafka, you can set up these environment variables as well. Okay. Okay, that's it for my slides. It's hands-on time. Let's inspect first the managed Kafka. Let me just reload here. So this is the website. Don't worry, all the links are in the presentation. This is the website, and I strongly encourage you to take a look. There are some examples, some quick starts here that you can, some videos. But let's go ahead and create our instance. In my case, I already have one, but you should do the same. Just click in that button, and the instance will be created for you. Okay. Oh, it's taking too long. Let me refresh. Okay. Again, keep in mind that this is development preview. Do not put production code here. Okay. So here's my instance. One limitation of the managed Kafka, I don't know if I mentioned, is that you can only create one instance. Okay, but this should be more than enough for you to get started. So this is pretty much it. You create your instance, you create your topic. So let's go ahead and create our topic. So here's my instance. I already have some topics here. Let's create one. KieLive. And you can put the name on it, and you can set all the default values will be enough for this demo, but you can take a look and change the default values if you want. Okay, but let's go with the default values. So here's my topic. I have prepared here the environment variables just because we will need those. So let me put here the name of the topic. Let's go back to my instance. And here you can see this view connection information. Okay, let's go here. And here you can see the Bootstrap server. Let's copy it and paste it here. I need the OAuth token endpoint. You will find it down here. Let's copy it. Here. I also need the client ID and the secret. I already have mine, but you can go here and create your own. You just need to provide a name and a description, and that's it. Be sure to copy your client secret because you cannot recover, okay? So our Kafka instance is basically prepared. Here you can take a look at some resources. There are some tutorials, the documentation. Be sure to dive into it because it's really cool. So let's move to our Kafka is prepared. Let's move to our sandbox. So this is the site, the website. The same thing. You just need a Red Hat developer's account to log in. There are some FAQ here. So let's create our instance. You can go here. You can see here, it's pretty simple. You just need to click on buttons, right? So that's it. I'm already in my sandbox. You can see here that I have some quick starts, just like the Kafka. I have some ways of creating my apps. Here I'm in the developer perspective. You can check. You can do some monitoring, check your builds, your projects, things like that. You can also see the administrator perspective. And when you create your sandbox instance, you get 2 projects or namespaces. You cannot create more. This is one limitation, and you cannot edit or delete. But 2 is more than enough, in my opinion. Here in the administrator perspective, you can see all the deployments, secrets, and services, routes, things like that. You can create your service here if you want, but I want to click on some buttons and let the OpenShift sandbox to create everything for me. Okay, so let's do it. As I said earlier, I'm going to create my project from the Git, from our repository. This repository, let me just quickly show you. So this is a repository. We have our consumer. We have our producer code. There is some description here if you want to run it locally. So let's copy it because we will need it. Go back here and create from Git. You put the URL here, and since our code is not in the root of this repository, we need to provide the context dir. So first, I want to create my consumer. So let's copy this name here, the folder, and put this in the context dir. If you have a private GitHub repository, you have to set up this secret here, but ours is open source, so no worry about that. You can see that the sandbox already identified this is a Java project, and here is to build our image. So when I click create, the OpenShift sandbox will create all the services, all the routes, all the build configurations for me, so I don't have to do anything more. Okay. So let's put a name here as consumer. Okay, right. And as I mentioned, we need to provide some environment variables. Let's put here, and it's on deployment time. So this is only for runtime only. But if you have other environment variables at build time, you can configure them here. Okay. So let's put 5 of them. Copy our variables here. Paste them here. and create. So you can see here in my topology, my deployment is created. It is currently building. Oh, the build has started. You can see here a Java icon, but let's change it to one more. Shift time equals press. Oh, maybe I put it wrong. App shift run time equals arcus. Okay. There we go. So it is currently building. Let's check the build here. It's a Maven project. It's downloading the entire internet. We just have to wait a little bit, and you can follow along with the logs here. You can check the memory usage here. Remember that we have 7 GB of RAM. Let's go here in the administrator while it's being built. Here is the build configuration for our consumer. I just wanted to show you that you have this webhook URLs for you. And this is pretty awesome because you can copy this URL and set up this webhook in your GitHub repository. So every time you do a push in your repository, the OpenShift Sandbox will receive this push and will automatically trigger a build for you and make your project up to date. And this is quite awesome, right? So let's go back to our build. Let's check it. Let's wait a few more seconds for that. Almost done. Now it's validating our model, traffic violation. Few more seconds.
I see.
Build
So
success.
here we are doing like a source to image build. So we are getting it straight from GitHub and just building it based on the source code. We could also be building it based on a binary image build that is when you have your image already uploaded to somewhere like Quay.io and just use it.
Yeah.
Right, Git?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Okay. A question that was asked before is if we are doing serverless here.
I
mean, for the applications that you are deploying, we are not deploying any serverless functions or decisions on this demo, right?
No.
Yeah. It's a very good follow-up that we can do, a Knative serverless demo with this. But yeah, keep in mind, DMN, as presented here, it's completely stateless, what gives the ability to do easily serverless.
I have actually tried Knative with DMN and it works pretty smoothly. So we can definitely do a session later about this.
Yeah.
Did
I'm not sure if the sandbox would support though.
Gui, can you increase the font size just once, please?
Sure, but it's done. I will change the screen.
Okay, awesome. Thank you.
Okay, as you can see here, the build is complete. Let's go back to our topology. The build is complete. The server is up. Let me check here. Scale up. Let's check the URL. So this is my basic index HTML that I prepared. So it's not receiving anything because our producer is not up yet, but it will show the driver and the violation information, the calculated fine, and the decision made. Okay, so let's go ahead and deploy our producer. So for that, you can do the same process. We already have our repository here. You can go here, go back and copy the context there. Let me actually put this down so we can see later better. Okay. Context here of our producer. Again, Java, let's name it producer. And let's similarly add our environment variables. You could use service binding here to connect your sandbox with Kafka, but I prefer to do this because this is the same as if you wanted to run it locally. Okay. So I guess everything is right. Let me check. Okay, so let's create. So our producer is here. Let me change this icon. OpenShift IO runtime equals Quarkus. Okay, beautiful. Build is running. Let's wait for it to complete. You can check the raw. You can expand here. Check this is cloning my repository and doing all the stuff to build the repository. So let's wait a little bit for it to be built. I guess this one will be a little bit faster. But again, has to one thing that you could do is prepare an image with all the Maven dependencies downloaded inside the image, so the build would be much faster, right? But anyway, while it's being built, let's go back here to our topology. I want to show here that this is the this is where you can edit your code. I'm not gonna do it right now because it needs to create a new instance for the code ready. It takes some time, but keep in mind that here you can edit your code, and if you have the webhook configured, you can edit your code here in your browser, push it to GitHub directly from your browser, and then GitHub will send a push for the sandbox, and then the sandbox will trigger a new build for you and automatically deploy your new code, right? And this is pretty awesome in my opinion. Let's check here, still downloading dependencies. Oh, producer is ready. Let's go back here. Ready. Let's go here. Here is the producer. It takes a little, okay. Here's the producer. Here's the consumer. So we will see the decision events here as they get out from our producer and arrive on our consumer, and this will be automatic evaluated for us using Kogito. So let's inspect this one, for example. This driver is 48 and has 17 points. The speed limit is 100. The actual speed was 17 more. 17 is okay, the fine is correct, 3 points. 3 points plus 17 is 20. So 20 means that this driver should be suspended, right? And this is awesome to see because, for example, you could create a third microservice there in our sandbox, which will maybe subscribe to a different topic, and this consumer will send a new event every time this decision is yes. So this other microservice could listen to this yes, and every time it receives this event, it could potentially start a process or do something like that, right? So here is our decisions evaluated. Every 5 seconds, the producer produces an event, and the consumer consumes it and processes it and shows us the decision made. Okay, that's it for the demo. Let me go back to my slides. Let me see. Oh yeah, I have some final remarks here. I already said that you could play around with the code and maybe analyze the code and change it to your own needs, to your own ideas, and easily deploy your code using the sandbox and Kafka, and also create other things based on that. The code is pretty simple, as you will see. And also, as I said, this demo could potentially be connected to another microservice logic that triggers a process every time a driver should be suspended. And I hope you enjoy it, and I hope you try it after this live, okay? So here are some additional references. I strongly recommend you to take a look at this first one, because if you want to understand more how Kogito does this behind the scenes, and the other ones are just for completeness. And thank you. That's it.
That's so cool. Thank you very much, Guilherme. So we could see that not only create from DMN and connected the events, but without any credit card information. We got OpenShift Sandbox running and managed Kafka, and we connect with DMN and deploy that live. Like, this is always, especially today that the internet's on fire. Like, you were downloading it, I said, oh my God, I hope it's going to be good. But yeah, I'll work it out. That's great.
Just so you know, I already stopped sharing your screen, okay? I really enjoyed the example and the fact that you have the code ready for people to see, because one of the things that is pretty simple to set up is that the only worry you really have is to configure the application properties, pointing to the Kafka address and client secret and ID like Guilherme showed. And you don't really need to code any Java integration layer to connect to Kafka. It's all there. Like, you just need to worry about the decision logic itself. So Statius has a question. Is Kafka integration DMN specific, or can it be used with Druze as well?
As far as I know, it's just DMN, but the experts of DMN and Druze could take this one. But as far as I know, it's just for DMN.
I think we can use with rules. We need to double check that information, and I'll be sure to put the information on the answers later here on the comments of this video for those who are coming later. What is great also is that people were asking about serverless. And yes, you can compile your Quarkus applications to native, even if you are using Kogito. So if you have your rules in there with Druze, or if you have DMN, you can compile them to native and deploy, for example, using Knative, and have your decisions evaluated. Another thing that compares to what you showed, Gui, is that you grab events that are coming from a topic, and you process your business logic, and then you show it in your front end. Although this could be just a service without any front end, and it could listen to a topic and then simply put the answer to another topic so that other services could react to it. So it can be inserted in the middle of an architecture that is event-driven and still fits the needs, right?
Yeah, for sure. That's the idea.
Pretty good.
Yeah, and we have all the goods of DMN as a graphical modeling that we can define decision and visually understand it, but connected to a very technical event-driven architecture without any problem.
Yes, so I will have the slides published on the speaker deck that we have. Let me share the link with you. And you will be able to grab the links for the sample, for the managed services that you saw here today, and try it out by yourself. So, Guilherme, thank you a lot for your presentation today. I really enjoyed it.
Thank you guys for the invitation. It's always a pleasure.
Thank you very much.
Porcelli, see you next week.
Oh yeah, we are back.
Next week, we will have, again, DMN, but we will have a slightly different context. We will see how we can actually play games using DMN. I'm wondering what the speaker is going to bring to us, but I'm curious. I'm curious.
It's pretty cool. I have an idea. I already saw some demos. It's pretty cool.
Awesome. So see you all next Tuesday, guys, at the same time. Bye-bye. See you later.
See you. Bye-bye.